Stretch it out. Back to the middle. And then just come up onto your hands and knees. We're going to warm up the shoulders. We're going to get them mobilized a little bit. So try and don't worry too much about the rest of the body, but still try and keep controlling the shoulders. So you're going to, without lifting your shoulders to your ears like this, keep them back and down, and then just dip them together as close as you can, letting the shoulder blades touch at the back. Sometimes you can do that to the point where it almost feels like it's cramping. And then slowly push it away as far as you can. And dip it in again. Shoulder blades touching at the back. And push away. And again. Shoulder blades touching. Keep the tummy in. And push away. And again. Push away. Kind of circle your shoulders so you're kind of rocking forward, taking those shoulders completely back, and then dipping it in, riding it forward. Don't bring it to the ears, keep them away, and circle your shoulder blades. Get a lot of movement into the shoulder blades if you can. Get some movement in there. Forget about the rest of the body. And reverse, so forwards and back. Get that movement in. If it cracks a little bit, that's fine. So you're trying to get the back of your shoulders mobilized, which is good for shoulders. You need to get them mobilized. We'll do some mobilization tests next. And then if you can, separate the two arms, which makes it a little bit more tricky. So take your time to figure it out. One is going forward, and one is going back. So you're kind of going into the opposite direction with each shoulder. Same kind of turning and dipping and rounding thing that you're doing. And the other way. Push it back up. Dip your chest forward. And again, without bringing the shoulders to the ears. Once your chest is pushed forward a little bit, dip again. Dip those shoulders, a little bit difficult, more difficult. And push it away. And dip it in. And push it away. So go all the way down, go into child's pose, and just rest your wrists. Shake them out. And you can just come back onto your legs. So I'm going to show you from behind. So just a little bit of a mobilization test. We will do this from the front so that you can see where your elbow is. If you can just take one hand and touch the top of your thoracic spine with that elbow going up, not going forward. So you see at the back where it touches, but try not to do this with your elbow. It needs to go back and just hold that there. See if you can manage that. If you can't manage that, you can tick that on the list that you've got a little bit of a shoulder mobility thing that you need to work out, and you can do that warm up again. And then just do the other side. See if you can touch more or less the same place with that elbow looking up. Keep your tummy in. And again, just tick if you've noticed you struggle to get there, or you notice this arm is falling, or you're struggling to just get. It should be quite easy to get that hand on the spine. The opposite one, we're going to try also a little bit of mobility, but this is also a very nice little test to see if your scapula tilts forward like this, and those muscles holding on to that bottom bit of your scapula isn't strong enough to hold on to it. So you tend to have a natural posture that looks a little bit like this. And in order for that posture to improve, you really need to get those muscles at the back to pull you back naturally. So if you take one hand and you bring it underneath and you touch your back, if you have someone there, or you can feel if this bit of your scapula, let me see, really sticks out and you can grab it quite a bit, that is quite a good sign that your scapula is tipping forward. It's got an anterior tip and that you need to work. So tick the box if you can really feel that muscle, that scapular head that you see. If that sticks out quite a bit, tick the box. That's a good exercise. You can work a little bit in your shoulders. And just do the other side. See if that thing is tipping up. You can grab it with your hand, see if it's tipping. If it's a little bit of a thing sticking out, it's fine. But if it's really a lot and you really struggle to get there because you've got this forward lean in your shoulders, you can take that. And then you can just go the opposite way. See if you, now don't try and do this, because this means your shoulders is hypermobile. And in my case, it's not the best thing in the world. So if you can just touch your fingertips, opposite hand, the top arm being up, the elbow being up, and that scapula not sticking out, so not being able to grab that. And just the opposite way. So there is a nice little tick list for you to know if you, I'm guessing there's a few of you have that scapula sticking out. That's quite a common occurrence. So if you have that, tick it in the box, know that you can work on it. And then release, shake it out, rub your shoulders back, move them quite a bit. And forward, who's bored with this? He's already gone on to the next move.
No. My legs are quite sore.
And then just take your arms wide. This one is tricky as well because you have to really focus on the movement of not the arms, but of the scapula at the back. And we're just going to tip the arms forward. So you're bringing this whole arm, this deltoid, turning it forward. And then when you turn it back, you should be able to tip that scapula back into your ribs, which is quite a difficult thing to do. Once you get it, it's quite nice because you can feel it working and you're working those muscles. Turn it forward. And then when you do turn it back, really go for that shoulder dip. This is your shoulders as well. And back to the middle. Onto your hands and knees. And we're just going to dip into a downward dog. Just stretch it out a little bit. Take your time to do that stretch. Get your shoulders nice and strong. And then just find your downward dog, comfortable dog. And we're going to walk our feet in a little bit so that your triangle is a little bit shorter. Don't worry too much about pushing the heels down. And we're going to dip. We're going to take our arms up. We're going to dip in with our heads towards our hands and bring it back up. A pike dip, I think they call it. Dip it in, pick it up. Dip it in. You don't have to go forward. Really control that in your shoulders. Try not to lose control there. Take it up. Dip it in. Take it up. And again. Do it nice and slow.
I just tucked my shirt.
And my shirt's going as well. And put your knees down. Rest your wrists. That was lovely. Okay, again, but keep your knees on the floor, take them back a little bit. We're going to do the same, hands forward, dipping out. So this is a little bit easier, but try and take your chest over your hands. So again, we're dipping out and pushing up. Dipping out, pushing up. And back to the middle, child's pose. Rest your wrists. And we're going to slide forward into a cobra. Nice and slow. Slide it forward into that cobra. Shoulders back and down. And back to the floor. Okay. So again, very controlled shoulder work. Put the sofa in my way, so I have to move way down. Okay, very controlled shoulder work. So first, just put your hands reversed on your lower back. Put your head down, relax your body, but kind of just tuck in your tailbone a little bit to make sure that your back is straight and you're not going to use your back muscles. And then very simple, we're just going to lift the elbows up and drop them down. And lift them up. The thing with shoulder work is it's very specific and a little bit tedious, but it's such a complicated part of your body that it does take a little bit of a while. And back down. Take your hands, keep them lifted in a block shape. So you've got a 90 degree angle with your elbow, hand, and shoulder. And we're just going to lift it up again like this. Take it down. Keep that angle with your shoulder. So the shoulder blades are touching. You can fist up your hands if you want. Don't take them forward. Keep them 90. Lift them up. Relax your back. Make sure that your tailbone is tucked in slightly so that your lower back doesn't work. And back down. Now put exactly in that same formation, put your elbows down, and you're going to keep the elbows and shoulders down. You're just going to rotate your hands, your fists up, just like that. It's a small movement. You're rotating the fist up, putting it down, rotating it up, putting it down. It's the same, the one that we did where we did that. It's the same kind of motion in the scapula, tucking it into your ribs and bringing it down. Keep the shoulders strong and just rotate. And relax it down. Okay, take your arms forward. We're going to keep it lifted from now on. So take it forward, then lift it up. You can fist it up. We're going to bring it 90 degrees, lift it up, take it down, take it forward. And bring back, lift it up, take it forward. Keep the tailbone tucked in. Lift it up, take it forward. So we're just trying to get all those muscles at the back tired. Why are you laughing?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you laughing?
I'm not laughing.
And last one. Take it down. Shake it out. Rest it out. And then the last one, we're going to take it forward. We're going to bounce it forward at the front. I do this a lot in my class, so well, if you come to the class, you're used to this one. We're just bouncing the hands up, 1, 2, 3, as high as you can, keeping the back stable. Take it diagonally, bounce it 3 times. And controlled as well. Take it to the side, bounce it 3 times. And take it forward again. Keep it lifted. Bounce it up. 1, 2, 3. Diagonally. 1, 2, 3. To the side. 1, 2, 3. Take it forward again. Bounce it up. 1, 2, 3. To the side. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Relax. Bring your, are you okay?
Yeah.
Bring your hands in next to your side, which is up again. Go into a cobra and go back to child's pose. Just stretch that out quickly. Let the back rest, because if you did use your back a bit, you'll feel that now. So you activate and you mobilize and you kind of isolate the muscles, and then you can start to stabilize and strengthen them. Unfortunately, with shoulders, it works better if you've got gym equipment because there's a lot you can do to get those shoulders nice and strong. But this is kind of mat work. It's very efficient. So you can always just repeat that if you do struggle with your shoulders, or you know you've got that tipping and you know you've got that forward lean a little bit to just get everything going. You will definitely feel it if you're not used to this kind of work. Okay, let's power it up a little bit before we finish. So when you're ready, onto your hands and knees. Push away from the shoulders. Tuck your toes under, downward facing dog. Get that stretching. We're not worried too much about stretching today. And just walk it out to the front of the mat with your legs bent. And just make sure that your toes is looking forward. Your toes, middle toe is looking forward. Your knees is bent. And just roll it up to the top. Shrug your shoulders back. We're going to go into a chair. I'm going to use Louisa for example.
Yay!
So two things. First, do a chair with your hands and your hips. And just, I want you to check yourself because this is an upper body like assessment. Go into that squat. See if your feet stays forward, knees stays forward, push your bum back. Hands into your waist for now, just to see if you've got, tuck your tummy in, make your back straight. Then start to lift up your hands next to your ears. If they drop a little bit, so if you notice that someone can see your ears, even if it's like this is an arm drop, they need to stay next to your ears. If you are doing this, if you feel you're doing this, just try and tuck that tailbone in, straighten out. But if you did do that, just tick the box. If your arms are starting to do that, tick the box. If you're even struggling to get the arms there and control, tick the box. And if you are lifting up like this, if you're lifting your shoulders to get them next to ears instead of dropping them down, tick the box. And if your arms is doing this, tick the box as well. Then straighten out. If you have ticked the box, you know that again that there's some shoulder refinement you could do. Take a nice deep breath in, forward bend. Keep your knees slightly bent. Stretch out your back. Get the weight to the front of the feet. So if you have noticed that you struggle with any of those, just, it's nice to know that there is an area you can work on. Take your hands to the mat, step back to plank. Okay, the first plank sequence is the one which we've already done. We're just going to go down into a low plank. Keep that shoulder strength, keep the line, and then push back up into a high plank. And go back down into a low plank and back up into a high plank. And again, low plank and high plank. Hold that plank. We're going to touch opposite elbow with one hand. Oh, I dipped too much there. And then the other side. Try and keep it straight. So if you dip like I did, note. And back. Plank. Knees down. Child's pose. Just shake it out. I always have a cough in the morning. Are you okay, Minion?
Yes.
Minion has got strong shoulders.
I found it.
Okay, we're going to do that same push out, elbows going out. The dip is to control that bit of your body. So when you're ready, go into a downward dog. Walk your feet closer a little bit. Don't worry too much about your toes now. And we're going to dip out and dip in. So head going down, small movement, dip out and in. Not down with the elbows, out with the elbows. I like this one. You can push it forward a little bit with your head if you want. and knees down. Child pose, check it out. Minion is my guide.
Oh, I find that quite difficult.
There's some people who can put their face on the floor. You?
Yeah.
I can't at all. I do little ones. I know my shoulders, as you can tell, I've got that foot lean. I know my shoulders is one of my main areas I need to work at, so I can't do that at all. Okay. Go with your elbows to the floor. We're going to do that dolphin again. So elbows to the floor. Tuck your toes under, push back into the dolphin. So get that diagonal line. Push it back. Just hold that. And then just bring it forward a little bit. Like you want to go into a plank, but you're keeping your thumb lifted. And this is a very small move. You're going to push away your shoulders and dip them in. Push away and dip them in. Push and dip. You can do that diagonally as well. You can move around and dip. And push back into your dolphin. Knees down. Child's pose, stretch it out. And then back onto hands and knees, sorry. Shake it out. Ooh, my arm is numb. Okay, so it's that same dip and push thing. We're going to do that in a plank and a downward dog. So first push into your plank, and we're just going to dip and push away. Dip and push. Dip, push. So just keep doing that. And push it back to downward dog. Don't dip with your arms, dip with your shoulders. So if you did do a push-up, you did it wrong, Louis. So again, you dip, you push your shoulders away, and then you dip it in. You push it away, and you dip it in. It's just shoulder work.
Okay.
So you're shrugging your shoulders while, I'm choking myself with my bling. So you're shrugging your shoulders while you're in a downward dog. Do you understand what I mean, Louis?
Yeah.
So your shoulders at the back should feel pretty tired if you keep doing that. It's not that difficult to do. So you're not going to get that same tiredness you would get from a push-up, but your shoulders at the back should get a little bit fatigued. And then push it back into a plank and do exactly the same. Dip it in, push it out. So again, the arms doesn't do much. It's your shoulder blades doing most of the work, and they should get very tired. Knees down, child's pose, shake it out. Sorry about that.
It's quite that.
Shake it out. Woo. Okay. I can't think of what much else to do with the shoulders because we don't have anything to work it with. But if you do have weights, you can do stuff like this with a weight in your hand, where you push and retract and protract your scapula, which is a nice little shoulder move. So you can always do that with weights if you've got it. Same movement like this. You can do it without weights as well. You will feel that if you do this kind of movement. Actually, let's try that. You can do this without weights. It's not as effective, but you don't need to build the muscle. You need to activate them. So anything where you take your arms forward, you protract your scapula and you push it back, touching at the back. The same as we did when we were on our hands and knees. Keep them nice and high, the elbows. Keep your tummy tucked in. And you should feel that, especially after the planks that we've done. Relax your shoulders. If you're shrugging in like this, it's a tick, again, to know that you're compensating with your traps and your lavator scapulae to do the work for you. So as soon as you feel you're starting to do this, to make it easier, you can tick the box. Your shoulders needs to stay down. And the top shoulders actually needs to stay relaxed. And if you are doing that, you probably get headaches as well. And then the other one is you bring it 90 degrees, you can see that there, and you tip it back and tip it forward. Tip it back. Again, you're going to start to want to do this to compensate. If you do that, you can tick a box. Because the movement is at the back, bottom bit of your shoulder, as soon as you try and compensate, that means that your serratus anterior, your teres minor, your, there's another one, blah, 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 scapularis, everything is underactive. And lazy. And relax. Grab your hands at the back of your mat, shrug your shoulders back, and just stretch out. And you should feel that after the work that we've done. We didn't do crazy amount of like regular shoulder work, but we did. I do try and work into the back there because that is notoriously lazy. Hello, Robert. You can see his hand behind me. And relax. Shrug your shoulders back. You can sit on your bottoms with your legs forward. I hope your shoulders, is it enough shoulder work, Louis?
Yeah, I think so.
I hope your shoulders enjoyed that. You can shake it out. Hopefully they're a little bit stiff tomorrow just to show, especially in the places that you're not used to working. Sit up nice and high. Take a nice deep breath in. Drop your shoulders down. So this is a shoulder lift. This is a shoulder drop. Keep them dropped. Keep your arms straight. Just hold them there. Tip it forward in a straight line. Keep the hands next to your arms next to your ears. Lift it back up. And lift the shoulders up. Keep them relaxed down. Arms straight, Louis. Tip it forward. Next to your ears, keep the arms there. Don't drop them. And then kind of drop your head to compensate. Lift it back up. And now you can drop your arms down, slide it forward. Hold that stretch. We didn't stretch loads. We had a big stretchy day yesterday. Just get your back into the opposite direction. We did arch it a little bit. Just hold that. Relax the shoulders back and down. See if you can walk a little bit forward again. And then round it back out, straighten out onto your spine, shrug your shoulders back. And you are done with your shoulder work for today. Have a lovely beginning of the week and work week. See you tomorrow for another isolation exercise. Bye. Shoulder, shoulder.